Hello, church. Thank you for joining me today. We're in this series, The God I Love, and we're looking at the attributes of God. Today, we're going to be looking at Psalm 139. In this psalm, David describes some of the highest attributes of the nature of God. God is omniscient, God is omnipresent, and God is omnipotent. It means that God is all-knowing, fully present everywhere, and is all-powerful. Now, these attributes of God are meant to be personal. They're not just abstract, academic, theological understandings a student in school would read out of a book to prepare for a test. They are attributes of God that are meant to be applied to your and my life. Psalm 139 gives us a deeper understanding of God and a right understanding of man. You can't rightly understand yourself until you rightly know your God. God knows you intimately well. Verses 1 through 6, David doesn't just declare the omniscience of God as if it was something that he learned from a book or someone told him about it. He writes it for the choir director to be sung in the most intimate, personal way. Psalm 139, verses 1 through 6. O Lord, you have examined my heart and know everything about me. You know when I sit down or stand up. You know my thoughts, even when I'm far away. You see me when I travel and when I rest at home. You know everything I do. You know what I'm going to say even before I say it, Lord. You go before me and follow me. You place your hand a blessing on my head. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too great for me to understand. The God who made the galaxy by the great power that he has, and he knows every star, and he knows every star's name, knows me, and he knows you, and he takes notice when we sit down and when we stand up. How wonderful it is to be known by God. And I agree with David in verse 6, such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too great for me to understand. It just blows my mind. God has examined my heart and knows everything about me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And not only that God knows the good and the bad and the ugly, but he still loves me and he still loves you. It's what creates such an intimate relationship with the Lord. God is intimately acquainted with all my ways, and then invites me to draw near to him in spite of all my shortcomings. God doesn't turn away when he comes to know the bad and the ugly. He knows how to transform the bad and the ugly. God knows the intentions of my heart. God knows the very intent of your thoughts. And before there is even a word on your tongue, God knows it all. Verses 2 through 4, you know my thoughts even when I'm far away. You know everything I do. You know what I'm going to say even before I say it. In other words, not only does God know the words you say before you say it, he knows the words you wanted to say but didn't. The God who knows your thoughts can transform your thoughts. The God who knows the intentions of your heart can change your heart. Psalm 19, verse 14. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. God will protect you. Verse 5 says, you go before me and follow me. You place your hand a blessing on my head. He has enclosed you behind and before on top, and he laid his hand on you because he cares about your life. He has you surrounded to protect and guard you so you will not give up. Whatever schemes the enemy has against you, he has to go through God to get to you. There's this spiritual protection for those who dwell in the shadow of the Almighty. It's that umbrella of protection that God is over us. as we're staying under him. Psalm 121 verses 7 and 8. The Lord keeps you from all harm and watches over your life. The Lord keeps watch over you as you come and go, both now and forever. God is always with you. Verses 1 through 6 declare the omniscience of God in a very personal way. Verses 7 through 12 declares the omnipresence of God, which is a deep theological truth regarding the nature of God. Psalm 139 verses 7 through 12. I can never escape from your spirit. I can never get away from your presence. If I go up to heaven, you are there. If I go down to the grave, you are there. If I ride the wings of the morning, if I dwell by the furthest oceans, even there your hand will guide me, and your strength will support me. I could ask the darkness to hide me, and the light around me to become night. But even in darkness, I cannot hide from you. To you the night shines as bright as day. Darkness and light are the same to you. God is always fully present everywhere. God is always with you. God's hand will lead you. No matter where you find yourself in life, whether you're in the doctor's office, a courtroom, standing by an open gravesite, you are not there by yourself. God is there with you, and he will lay his hand on you to lead you and also to comfort you. If you find yourself in the darkness, God will be your light in that darkness. His word is a light unto your path and a lamp unto your foot. Hold on to the fact that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Verses 1 through 6 declare the omniscience of God. God is all-knowing. Verses 7 through 12 declares the omnipresence of God. He is fully present everywhere. And verses 13 through 18 declare the omnipotence of God. He is all-powerful. Psalm 139, 13 through 18. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. How precious are your thoughts about me, O God. They cannot be numbered. I can't even count them. They outnumber the grains of sand. And when I awake, you are still with me. Now it is true that God created the heavens and the earth, and they declare the power and glory of God. Romans chapter 1, verses 19 and 20. That which is known about God is evident within them, for God made it evident to them. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood through what has been made, so that they are without excuse. David declares that God's omnipotence, his great power, can be seen when he formed him, David, in his mother's womb. In other words, God made me personally. God made you personally, and he formed you in your mother's womb. I was formed in my mother's womb. Because of that, we could say with David, I will give thanks to you. I will praise you for what you have done when you formed and breathed life into my soul. For I am fearfully and wonderfully made. The words fearfully made mean that God made me reverently and with honor. Then David adds, not only reverently and with honor, but God made me wonderfully. Even if a person has a limitation or a handicap, God can use all things for his glory. In John chapter 19, verses 1 through 12, there's an account of Jesus and the disciples in Jerusalem. And they were passing by a blind man, and the blind man was blind from birth. The disciples asked Jesus, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, Jesus answered, "It was neither that this man sinned nor his parents, but it was so that the works of God might be displayed in him." God knows each day of your life before you were even born and how they are going to play out. Verse 16 says, "You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed." This is one of the most personal understandings of the nature and character of God. Before you were born, God has numbered your days. He knows you so well. In fact, in verse 17, it says, "How precious are your thoughts about me, O God. They cannot be numbered." Because God knows us so well and wants the best for us, we could pray what David prayed at the end, the last two verses of Psalm 139, verses 23 and 24. "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Point out anything in me that offends you, and lead me along the path of everlasting life." Now, it does take a certain amount of courage to pray those words, because you're giving the Lord full permission to continue his work in you. It permits him to become detail-oriented in your life, looking at your attitudes and behavior. But it is worth it. That's the thing that you have to hold on to. It is worth it. Remember, God already knows you, and he still loves you, and he wants the best for you.